I am going to be talking a little bit about disc, which would be my off spec. I will be leveling as Holly and I'll be maxing Holy Tree, but I will also have disc as an off spec when Legion hits live. The artifact weapon of disc is called Light's Wrath, and it looks a little bit different than Holy, but you have two starter trait, Light's Wrath, which is a usable damage dealing ability, and the other one is Invoke the Light, increases damage dealt by Smite by 15%. After this, you can go either left or you can go right. I chose to go right because of the right side has increase in absorption and damage dealing abilities. On the right side, the first up is Shield of Fate, increases damage absorbed by Powered Shield by 20%. And Powered Shield, even though it's on cooldown, it's still very good spell. There is another thing here on the left called Share in the Light. Casting Powered Shield on a target other than yourself also shields you for 15% as much. That's also a really helpful thing in raids, dungeons, all around, wherever you play. The next up is Darkest Shadows. It increases healing done by Shadowman by 10%. Shadowman is pretty much replacing your flash heal as disc, but it has a downside. It also does damage as you heal with it. The other one on the left side, you can go either left to get to the dragon trait or you can go right. I chose to continue going further up because of I wanted to get to the center dragon trait. The next up is the Edge of Dark and Light, increases damage dealt by Purge the Wicked by 15%. Purge the Wicked is a 100 level talent, and unfortunately the way Blizzard designed it is that you basically have to take it because it's a very good spell, and you have two traits that interact with that talent. Next after that is Borrow Time. Applying Atonement to a target reduces the cast time of your next Smite or Light's Wrath by 20% or causes your next penance to channel 20% faster. That's a really great trait. I really like it because you can cast a shield, cast Smite, apply another Atonement through Plea, cast Schism and Penance. So you basically benefiting as you heal, you're benefiting your damage and you're benefiting your healing. The major trait for disc is called Sins of the Many. Increases all damage you deal by 1% per ally affected by our atonement. That's really huge. I try to keep it on 5 targets when we're in dungeons. I haven't really had the opportunity to see how many I can keep up and be effective in raid, but basically I can cast a shield every 7.5 seconds and Plea is instant, so I try to pre-apply Atonement on the targets before we start. You get this buff called Sins of the Many, and that damage increase goes up by 1% every time you have Atonement up. Now, after I reached to Sins of the Many, I went back and went immediately to the left side and got Confession. Increases damage dealt by Penance by 12%, and afterwards Taming the Shadows, Shadowman has a 15% chance to deal no damage. That's really helpful. So I like the dragon traits, Power of the Dark Side, and I like Barrier of the Devoted if you're going left or right. However, I wanted to get a solid increase in damage and healing as fast as I can at the beginning. I have 21 traits, and you're probably not going to get that many by the time you start doing dungeons and raids, so I would strongly recommend, if you're going left or right, it doesn't matter, get to Sins of the Many as quickly as possible. Now, left side is more of a defensive side of disc. I would recommend that if you're planning to PvP, so it's probably best for you to go on the left side, but other than that, right has very solid talents. As far as the talents, I have played around with a lot of them. Level 15 talent, you have 3 choices and all of them are good, but I found that for the play style that disc has currently, Schism is the best because every time you cast it, you increase the damage you dealt to that target by 30% for 6 seconds, and with that talent you're basically increasing your healing because the more damage you do, the more healing you do. The other two choices are for Penance. Now Penance comes base only as an attack spell. If you'd like it to heal, you have to take this talent, the Penitent. But I think that you would regret not having Schism in dungeons because it really increases damage and healing by a lot. Next in line, level 30 talent, I chose Angelic Feather. And the reason I chose that is because I am very comfortable with it. I've been using it for a long time, and it's hard for me to wean off of it. I have the same choice as Holy. I just like it very, very much. Body and Soul is also good if you like it. I personally prefer Angelic Feather, but it doesn't matter which one you choose. Masochism is great, but I guess I can use it in dungeons, but I'm so used to Angelic Feather, it would be hard for me. Next up, level 45 talent. I didn't really care which one I chose. I think Dominant Mind is good because you can control your own character while you're doing a mind control, so that would be helpful in dungeons. Then 60 level talent. This is where you get your mana ability. 3 choices: Power, Solace. You all know about that. It is restoring your mana when you cast it. Shield, Discipline. When the shield is absorbed, you gain 1% of your mana. I personally chose Mindbender because of the increased damage. Mindbender is now available only through talent, so if you don't choose that, you're not going to have the 3-minute Mindbender like before. Level 75 talent. It was a hard choice to make, and I guess while I'm leveling, I would still go with Power Infusion because it wouldn't matter. But for raid and dungeons, I decided to go with Contrition simply because I can DPS longer. The Atonement stays longer. That means I can DPS longer. I can, it interacts really well with the artifact traits. So basically, I would have an extra Smite that I can cast or an extra Penance instead of having to reapply Atonement. Level 90 talent. This I was a little bit unsure as to what I want to do. I chose Divine Star because I'm soloing, and for dungeons it's pretty nice. I'm sure that Clarity of Will would be necessary at some point. I mean, it's still really good spell. You're just stacking protection, absorption on a target. Level 100 talent, you pretty much have to get Purge of the Wicked. You have 2 traits for it, and Blizzard didn't thought this through because the other 2 are really, I mean, they're good, but they don't interact with anything on the artifact tree as well as Purge of the Wicked. Now, Disc is really, really fun to play. It's no longer just spamming shield. It's very engaging, very interactive. It's great in PvP. It's still going to be the choice PvP talent. I had a lot of fun killing people because I do a lot of damage, and I'm very hard to kill as Disc. Basically, you would have a rotation when you heal, so you would like to apply Atonement in dungeons, and then you would like to cast Schism on the enemy target, and then 2 Smites, then apply another Atonement, Schism, Purge of the Wicked, Penance. You'll have to get used to it. It's a little bit confusing at start because you're looking at rate frames for people's health, but you're also looking at the mobs, and if you have applied Purge of the Wicked, and if you've used your old damage ability. So it's a lot more complicated, but at the same time a lot more fun. On the right side, you can see I just did a Dark Heart ticket heroic, and you can see my damage is really good. 190k DPS and 300 healing. Now the HPS on the Disc Priest is lower than others, but you have to take into account that Disc Priest currently do a lot of damage, so you get healing and damage. As I said, in PvP is great. I had no problems in Heroics. It was really fun because you're not just doing healing. You can DPS as a Holy Priest, but it's much more fun as Disc. If you like to hear more about Disc and Holy, I will be streaming most of the time, well, when Legion hits live, and you can also subscribe. Thanks!